Hola, hola, and welcome to Tech and Tequila, the podcast where tech innovation meets life's boldest adventures. I'm your host, Kat Lopez Shelby, your go-to techie chica, trusted tech advisor, digital nomad, and of course, tequila enthusiast. So whether you're here for the latest in tech trends, insights from industry leaders, or just a good story with a splash of tequila, you are in the right place. Each week, we dive into game-changing strategies, inspiring journeys, and a little tech magic to help entrepreneurs, creators, and curious minds thrive in our fast-paced digital world. And just in case you didn't know, of course, this week is a big week for lots of people like that, especially in the ATX in Austin, because we have South by Southwest this week. So everybody who is out there, I want to give a great big shout out. Enjoy yourselves. It's a great time. If you haven't ever looked into it, I highly recommend looking into it. Love it. But of course, I would be remiss without mentioning, of course, we're doing this while we're serving up your side of favorite tequila, because life is too short not to celebrate every win. So grab your glass, power up, and join the conversation. This is Tech and Tequila, where the future tech meets the spirit of adventure. Salud. All right, so first and foremost, I would be remiss if we did not start out this episode with some amazing tequila. And you notice this blue box I have right here. Whoop, whoop. So this is Casa Dragones, and let me tell you something. It is one of my new favorites for lots of reasons. Now, we're going to hope that I can get this bad boy open because I have been struggling with these here lately. But you know what? I'm sure we're going to be good. So Casa Dragones, let me get this bad boy maybe out of this box. Ooh, the struggle is real. Ooh, there we go. So if you haven't ever heard of Casa Dragones, I wanted to bring it out because it is a tequila that's made in small batches. And of course, one of my favorite things, it is actually co-founded by an amazing lady. So before we get to the tasting, right, I'm going to go over a couple of things, or I should say, wow, since it's going to take me 15 minutes to get this bottle undone. Casa Dragones was founded by Bertha Gonzalez Neves. She is the first woman certified as a maestra tequilera by the Mexican government. Talk about a boss move, man. She's absolutely la jefa. She's made it her mission to refine what premium tequila looks and tastes like. Like I said just a minute ago, they focus on small batch production. So a lot of tequila brands mass produce, but Casa Dragones takes a different approach, making sure every bottle is crafted with precision. Of course, they use 100% blue Weber agave with zero additives. And when we say zero additives, there's no glycerin, no caramel coloring, no artificial flavors, just the pure agave taste. And let me tell you, when you sip this, you're going to notice the difference. They also use an innovative modern distillation process. So we got a little tech in here as well. So instead of traditional methods, Casa Dragones uses a high-tech proprietary column distillation to get a clean, ultra-smooth profile while keeping all their agave character intact. And obviously, that's so important. We want to make sure we get the best of the best, right? And they're also serious about sustainability. So Casa Dragones sources water from natural springs in Tequila, Jalisco, and recycles their agave waste. So it's not just premium tequila, it's made responsibly. All right, so without much more delay, let's get to the fun part. Let's see if we can get to the fun part, maybe. Oh, look, it's coming out a lot easier. So basically getting out of the box was the issue. So let me see. Ooh, that is, let me have another taste of that. I say taste, a little sniff, sorry. So right off the bat, I'm getting bright citrus, lime zest, let me see, and a little bit of mint and basil. So this, of course, is an amazing tequila blanco. You know it's a tequila blanco because obviously look at it. But you know what? Before we do this, let's get a little taste in here right now. So I'm going to put just a little bit in here because I'm gonna make a drink here in a second, and you're all gonna have to bear with me because I did not bring my measure down. Okay, that is seriously smooth. I don't know if you guys have tried this, but you have to, because that is a seriously smooth tequila. First off, straight out the gates, I do get a little agave sweetness, some green apple, possibly some pear. And then at the very tail end, I get a little bit of a peppery kick. And of course, the texture is light and silky. I would give this this is crisp, clean, and delicious. So I guess the question would be, how would we drink this? Now, obviously, you can drink it neat, but let me give you a secondary. So first off, we're gonna eyeball this bad boy. I'm gonna give you, we're gonna say, what's that? That looks like a little more than a shot. We're gonna say we put 2 shots in there, and we're gonna call it, it's gonna be a Texas shot, Texas size shot right there. So we're gonna put that in, then take whatever, water, lime soda, whatever you particularly like, put that in there. I like to fill it about halfway up. And you know me, I'm all about my Ken euphorics. And I realize that they're all about doing this without alcohol, but I like to add it in. And so I'm going to take a little bit of the macchiatini, which if you have ever had macchiatini, I highly recommend you mix it up a little bit first. Put this in here. And you just need just a little bit, just a tad. And then we're going to take and put this back in. And to finish it off, we're going to put just a little lime in. Make sure, and of course, the secret to lime and making sure is to, number one, put your hand over so it doesn't squirt up in your face. Of course, I have glasses, so that protects me a little bit. But also is to make sure that it's a little warm. You don't want to first off, don't ever put limes and lemons in the refrigerator, but you want to make sure. And so there you have a cool and refreshing drink. Perfect. I'm so excited. I love it. So this is super simple. This is basically a tequila and soda with a little fresh lime. And, it keeps everything crisp and light, which is exactly what you want. And it's green. So since this is going to come out near St. Patrick's Day, we got our green, we got our St. Patty's. I'm wearing green. We're all set and ready to go because you can have tequila for every holiday and you can celebrate anything. And so I wanted to take a moment and go into a little more tequila talk. So let's talk a little more. I know we talked about that Casa Dragones uses a different production, right? So most traditional tequila brands use copper pot stills, but Casa Dragones takes a more high-tech approach with proprietary column distillation. This allows them to remove impurities while keeping the bright agave flavors intact. Think of this like refining raw data into a clean, optimized final product, except in this case, the data is delicious. And, look at that tequila. Another cool thing, their water source, they use pure spring water that is naturally filtered through volcanic rock, which adds to clean mineral quality in their tequila. So even though this brand is super modern, it still has deep roots in the land and traditions of Jalisco. I said Jalisco. It's Jalisco. Bear with me. So nobody come at me with that one. So what's my final verdict? I love it. I say try it. I mean, let's be very transparent. As of yet, I haven't met a tequila that I don't really like. I mean, there's some that I like less. But if we're going from like 1 tequila shot, 2 tequila hot, 4, I would say this is great. And what I really like about it is if you want to have your tequila neat, this is a perfect tequila to just have neat. And if you're looking to have this super simple with just some soda, it's absolutely great. So while I'm going to have a little drink of this, we're going to take a quick break for one of our sponsors. All right, Wanderlust warriors and tech-savvy trailblazers. Are you dreaming of a life where you can work from anywhere, sip margaritas on a beach, or explore hidden gems in bustling cities, all while keeping your business thriving? Let me introduce you to #YourDigitalBliss. This is the ultimate toolkit for female entrepreneurs who want to embrace the digital lifestyle nomad with ease. And this is whether you're a female entrepreneur who's single, you're a female entrepreneur that has a partner, you're married, you have kids, this is for you. And why can I say that? Because this is created by yours truly, Kat Lopez Shelby and Dr. Jenna W. Clack. This course isn't just about setting up tech. It's about creating freedom. Whether you're battling ADHD distractions, managing your social media, or planning how to stay cyber safe on the go, hashtag Your Digital Bliss has you covered. Here's a couple of things you're going to get: a step-by-step guide to setting up your tech stack, insider tips on securing your business data, budgeting tools for travel expenses, and hacks to find dreamy accommodations. And my personal favorite, a customizable digital nomad packing list and travel planner. And don't forget, I can pack for 5 days in 2 backpacks when it comes down to it. So of course, we still have pricing at $222. And if you use the code Tech and Tequila, you get 20% off of that. Now, keep in mind, this price will change and we may have a live version coming up later. So make sure you check us out on Instagram at your.digital.bliss and start your journey today. All right. Well, thank you very much. Of course, I love Your Digital Bliss, but mi gente, welcome back to another episode of Tech and Tequila, where we mix a shot of tech wisdom with a splash of fun. And of course, I'm your host, Kat Lopez Shelby. And today we're talking about something that could possibly costing your business many, many dollars and lots of frustration. And we are all about being inexpensive and financially responsible. And of course, improving your customer service while keeping you cyber safe and secure. So let's talk about that. And I think it's been a while since we chatted about we chatted about this particular subject, but I feel like right now is a really good time to talk about it. And one of the things is how often do you look at your tech stack? So how often do you review it? Now, my personal recommendation that I do with most of my clients is we look at different aspects of their tech stack. So we look at everything at least once a year. We might pick out pieces that they have identified quarterly. So that's usually something that they want to work on. So I want you to take a moment, especially if you're a business owner or if you're a digital nomad or you're somebody that's traveling, and think, when is the last time that you really reviewed and had a full tech checkup? The reason that I say this is most people don't realize that something is wrong until it's slowing down, till it's too late, when they're losing time, money, and I always say this worst case scenario, you experience some type of data breach or you lose data. And so I always recommend doing a review. And there's a couple of things in this review that I think are super important. And one thing is, and this I think is super important for lots of reasons, but one reason is make sure that you know exactly who you're getting your services through. And you may be like, that's simple. Everybody knows that. I know that. But let me tell you, if you have any change over, you have, let's say this executive director leaves or this IT person leaves, and ideally that's under the best circumstances. But let's say in those not so ideal situations, it can be difficult. And the reason I say that is I actually have recently been working with one of our clients who had a changeover. And they called me because they didn't know who was managing their IT. The only thing they knew was they did know who their internet was through. And they were advised by their accounts payable to contact me because they're like, I know we got this from Shelby Tech and Kat, so give Kat a call. She can help you. But that's why I always say, one simple sheet of paper, something that you keep that has our internet comes from this person. This software comes from this person. Here's our account numbers, know when your contracts are up. Those are some of what I consider the basics, simple. But, obviously I'm going to tell you that, at Shelby Tech, we would love to do a review for you, but these are things that I want you to, even if you're not working with me, think about when it comes to your tech, because nobody wants their tech to be holding them back, and sometimes if we let things fester for a while, and to use an example, I love my mother. She doesn't like doctors. And so she didn't want to go to the doctor, right? So she fell down. My mom's 80. God love her. I told her that night, I said, all right, here's the deal. Let's just go to the doc in the box. Let's go to the walk-in emergency room, whatever. No. Didn't want to go. Well, sure enough, 3 days later, we ended up having to go to the doctor because where she fell down at, and because she is a little bit older, ended up getting infected. And I told my mom, this is why I said go to the doctor. So it's the same thing. Take a look at it. Don't wait until something happens. Some of the common reasons that businesses call us and say, hey, we want to do a tech review. I'm always going to say that your connectivity obviously is the base of your business. That is how your business runs these days. So whether you're in an office, you're working online, you're a digital nomad, is slow and having connectivity issues, having issues getting their VPN, having issues making sure. And there's nothing that can kill productivity like having to be on the phone with tech support a lot. Let me tell you, it is a killer. Number two, somebody who doesn't fully understand what they're getting. So a lot of the companies that I work with outsource their IT and their MSP work, and they think something is being covered and it's not. So I always say, take a really good look at that managed service contract that you have with someone, especially if you don't have one. The secondary thing is look at the software solutions you're using and have a full understanding of what they cover and what they don't cover. Because cyber threats are everywhere. If you don't have the right security in place, you're at risk of a data breach. You're at risk of things. And, this kind of goes back to where I talked about. We all want everybody to leave under the best circumstances, but let's be very realistic. That doesn't happen. So what happens when somebody leaves? It's an executive director and they have all the account passwords and they have all the tools and they know everything. And now you're kind of stuck. So that seems a little kind of off the point, but the reason that I thought of that with the outdated security measures is I did work with a nonprofit recently that had an executive director leave. They actually use the nonprofit MSP service through the building, but what they didn't realize is this other executive director had gotten all these other things, and that's actually called like shadow IT that they weren't securing. And so it was it was a hot mess, but we had to like work through it, go through, figure out what contracts were covered. And luckily, some of the things actually did need to be done. Some didn't, but we were able to go through, figure everything out and align it for them. That gets to the point of what we commonly see. So we see a lot of shadow IT, which is where someone within the organization is either using or bringing a service in. So it's too many tools and they're not working, or they're not syncing, or they're not integrating. So let's say you're using 5 different platforms and none of these platforms talk to each other. So what we do when we go into a tech review is we look at what you're using and we say, okay, this is what you're using. This will integrate with this. This won't integrate with this. This can replace this, this, and this, and we look at that. And I think it's super important with this. Something to think about, especially when you use any type of SaaS or software as a service, is really know what's in your contract. I say that because we worked with a company where we got into their contract. We started looking through it only to realize that for 8 months, they had been paying $300 more than they were supposed to. And while I am not in charge of their billing per se, and it was a big enough company that like IT people signed off on this, it goes to the account payables, they think everything's good to go. But without looking at the actual contract, they didn't realize that they had several services, 1, they were not using, and 2, that they were paying for that they didn't have to. So we were able to get that. We were able to get a credit for 90 days back, which is pretty much standard. I would say it's pretty much standard unless the mistake is usually actually with that company, which helped them and saved them. And then we were able to get that particular service integrated as well. So didn't have that. The other thing is you're spending too much on tech you don't use. You're paying for software you don't use. So think of this like Rocket Money, right? I don't know how many of you have looked at Rocket Money or something like that, and you discover, like they always say, you're paying for 4 Netflix accounts. Well, what are you paying for where, let's say, it is overlapping tech? So let's say you're paying for this service when actually this service over here does these 3 things for you. and you want to make sure and use it. And of course, one of the things that we make sure and do, and we run into with a lot of customers, is not having a backup plan. And sometimes it's not that they don't have a backup plan. What it really is that they have a backup plan, but they've never tried it. So that means they're backing stuff up, but they've never actually had to pull that information. So they don't know for sure if it's, correct, if it's working, how it's going. And secondly, people don't know what to do. So if something goes wrong, how fast you can recover your data and keep your business running is super important. Super, super important. So obviously, these are just a couple of things that we see. They're definitely things that I recommend you look over. But here's the thing, of course, Shelby Tech can do that review for you if you'd like. And just to give you an idea of what it looks like when you sign up to do a review with us, what we generally do is step one is we set up an intro call with you to go over the process. During this, you'll answer a few questions. We'll give you a list of what we're asking you to give us access to. And I tell all my clients, hey, you want to give me that bill, but you don't want me to have your account number. That's perfectly fine with me. I just need to see this bill, see who you're paying, and have an understanding. And I ask if you have a copy of the contract to look at the contract. The second thing is what we will do is we'll analyze what's going on. We'll have a discussion with you during the intro and find out like, hey, what brings you here today? What are you concerned about? Is this just like, let's look over everything? Or is there a particular item that you want us to look at? And then, of course, last but not least, we come back within what the parameters that you have set. And if it's we want to get new internet, if it's we want to know when all our contracts are up, it's we want to know, we'll go over all that. We have a report that we give you. And of course, we'll tell you what's working, what's not working, where you have overlapping things that maybe you don't need. We'll talk about ways you can integrate your service. And of course, we'll just give you some actionable advice to make sure that you are set up for success and ready to go. We're going to take a quick break for our sponsor, and then we're going to finish out today's show. So thank you so much. Techies, digital nomads, and business owners, let's talk about staying connected without chaos. I mean, who wants chaos in their life? So whether you're running your business from a rooftop cafe in Medellin, co-working in a hub in Bali, or your Airstream in the middle of nowhere, you need a communication system that is as seamless as your lifestyle. And that's where Dialpad comes in. Dialpad is an AI-powered cloud communication platform that brings your calls, messages, and meetings into one sleek app. No more juggling multiple phone numbers or flipping between a million different devices. Just crystal clear voice and video, powered all by AI. So why do we love Dialpad? All-in-one calls, messages, and video meetings all in one place. AI-powered efficiency, automatic transcripts, smart call summaries, no more messy handwritten notes, no more having to search through trying to figure out, well, what was that meeting about? I know I talked about that. What were my follow-ups? You get that all in one place. Work from anywhere, laptop, phone, tablet, or if you want to be old school about it, that's right, a desk phone, a physical phone on your desk. It just works. AI voice intelligence tracks action items to stay on top of your conversations. With Dialpad, staying connected is effortless, whether you're closing deals, managing a remote team, or jumping on a quick call from a hammock. Want to streamline your business communication today? Head to www.dialpad.com and see why thousands of businesses trust Dialpad to keep them connected wherever they roam. Dialpad. Work beautifully. All right. Well, first and foremost, I want to thank you so much for joining us today. I always ask you to do these couple of things. I was going to say 3, but let's just say couple. Number 1, if you haven't subscribed to this on your favorite podcasting link, because, hey, let's be honest, that helps Tech and Tequila do more, have lots more tequila. And of course, we love our guests, and you don't want to miss an episode because we cover all kinds of things. Secondly, leave us a review. We love a review. If you love it and you think it's great, let us know. Even in the review, say, hey, I think you should check out this tequila. And of course, don't forget, last but not least, follow us at Shelby Tech Solutions. On Facebook, it's Shelby Technology Solutions, and pretty much everywhere else, it's Shelby Tech Solutions. So, alrighty, amigos and amigas, let's wrap today's episode of Tech and Tequila. So whether you came for the tech, stayed for the tequila, or you just love a good story, I really appreciate you rolling with me. And I would be remiss if I don't tell you, hey, if you were listening to me go over some of those quick different business things that we run into and talking about a tech review, and you're thinking in your mind, I don't know when the last time I did a tech review. I probably need to look at that. I'm not even sure when my contract is up. Am I auto renewing? Am I paying more? What's going on? Well, of course, I'm going to tell you, go to www.shelbyts.com, schedule a review today. But as I said, there are some things you can do on your own. Make sure that you know who you're paying for and what you're paying for, and have one sheet somewhere where it has your account numbers and all that information, so that when person A leaves, it can go to person B. So obviously, I'm going to say it again. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and share with your fellow techies and tequila lovers, because the more, the merrier. And hey, I want to hear from you. What's your go-to tequila? What tech topic should we dive into next time? Hit me up on social. Of course, you can always hit us up at your.digital.bliss or at Shelby Tech Solutions on Instagram. And let's keep the conversation and drinks going. Until next time, stay tech savvy, take no BS, and sip on something smooth, and salute.
Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode of Tech and Tequila. I hope you enjoyed our conversation today. To stay updated about all things tech and more, don't forget to visit us at our website, shelbyts.com. If you loved what you heard, remember to show your support by liking, sharing, and subscribing to our podcast. Your 5-star ratings and reviews mean the world to us and help us to reach more listeners just like you. So muchas gracias again for joining us with Tech and Tequila. Thank you so much. You learned a lot about tech, and maybe you had a nice drink of tequila.